Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to talk about something I don't do a lot on this channel. I'm going to talk about theme parks, but I'm going to talk about it in a way that casts a lot of doubt on what Disney's decision-making process is actually doing. It's putting a lot of risk in place of very short-term returns. And obviously, by putting things over in China, we already made a couple of big risks already. Well, now they made another choice to put something in the Middle East, and that may backfire. It may not even be possible at this point, especially because of the recent engagement in Iran. So let's take a look at whether or not Abu Dhabi Theme Park may make it at all. Here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I am trying to get to 50K, and we're so very close right now. So if you double check right down there, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If not, click that little red button, turn it to gray, or if you don't have any color on the button and it says subscribe, just click subscribe. Then hit the little bell icon and turn on all notifications. That way you don't miss anything, because you're missing 3 or 4 pieces of content every single day if you don't have all those turned on. Also, I make posts in the community area, and that's growing, along with the massive membership audience we're building currently. So, with your kind indulgence, please do that and, well, make this channel get to 50K. Also, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button right now and get ready to comment, because I want to hear what you have to say about Abu Dhabi Theme Park and Disney. Now, this is just a wonderful story coming to us from that park place from our friend Marvin Montenario. And I look, the U.S. is urging Americans to leave the Middle East region. Obviously, there's going to be a stability issue here. You're going to have some warlords that are going to try to assert some kind of authority. You're going to have some things going on here. Now, whether or not this continues to be a violent area is a bigger discussion to certainly have. But let's take a look at the story itself. So the U.S. State Department has issued a sweeping advisory urging Americans to immediately depart more than a dozen Middle Eastern countries, a move that could raise serious cautions or serious questions for major U.S. corporate projects in the region, including the upcoming Abu Dhabi Theme Park Resort. Now, this is part of the resort complex that is already in place. At least that's what I'm to understand, and it's going to be not as large a project as we thought. It's going to be part of a different kind of set of projects that'll obviously add to the tourism that Abu Dhabi has been enjoying. And according to Reuters, the State Department on Monday called on Americans to immediately leave multiple countries in the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, amid an escalating regional tension that's tied to the U.S.-Israeli strikes that happened on Iran. State Department Assistant Secretary for the Consular Affairs, Mora Namdar, said that U.S. citizens should depart using the available commercial transportation due to safety risks. And I'm going to tell you right now, these flights have just been reopened as of, I guess, yesterday, maybe today. At least that's the news that I reported on the 6 Minute Daily. For those of you watching this in real time, that would be yesterday, your time, which means there are limited flights going out of this region, and people should get on a plane and leave. And now, I understand there's a lot of jobs where that's not feasible, or you may be stuck there. Just be very careful and very aware for your future safety. So what we know about this project in Abu Dhabi is that in May of 2025, the Walt Disney Company announced plans to build its 7th global theme park resort on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi through a partnership with regional developer Miral. And that one kind of looked interesting, but it also looked kind of a rendering that may not actually get done. Under the agreement, Miral will finance, construct, and operate the resort. Disney will license its intellectual property, and the Walt Disney Imagineering will lead the creative design and provide oversight, much like they've done in some other instances on various projects. But this is very limited. What Disney can control is very limited, and what they'll own at the end of this is basically nothing. It's a licensing agreement, and that's really all it is. We shouldn't expect more from this, and neither should investors or shareholders, which I think they've been sold a bill of goods on this one, and I think they're going to realize that not putting things in stable places is a real problem. especially if you put stuff obviously in the Middle East or maybe even in China. China's not super stable right now. They're about to go through an economic disaster, and that could lead to some real problems in the future. And then, of course, there's the iffy nature of Imagineering. And where Imagineering currently stands, well, at this time, there's no public confirmation on how many Walt Disney Imagineering personnel are currently stationed in the United Arab Emirates. However, Disney has previously stated that its Imagineers will play a key creative oversight role in the Abu Dhabi project. But what does that really mean? You got to ask yourself, does that mean that there's going to be Imagineers on the ground or just for various periods of time for, let's say, the development process? Are they going to just return to their desks with giant sheets of paper and kind of lay out what the park design should look like, and drawing on all the experience that, of course, Walt brought to the table from the very beginning? You kind of picture or imagine a spoken wheel concept that will naturally funnel the traffic where you want it. A lot of theme parks are being designed around that idea, and even with the later developed parks at Disney World, they kind of function in the same way, whereas obviously Epcot is two wheels. You have obviously kind of a central hub everywhere where the icon, or the weenie, as Walt liked to call it, would sit. And there's a lot of things to pay attention to here, including industry events that will kind of break down our expectations in the future. And I think we should visit on that right now. Another industry event to watch is, of course, the other factor bearing in mind in the Middle East is the IAPA Expo, which is scheduled to take place in Abu Dhabi in just 4 weeks. The question is, will it? I think they plan on doing it. IAPA is actually headquartered in Orlando, Florida, and these events are worth going to, I know personally. And the event is expected to draw industry professionals from around the world, but it remains unclear whether the State Department's advisory urging Americans to depart the region will affect attendance or that particular event's status. But the timing adds another layer of uncertainty for major themed entertainment initiatives tied to the UAE, and there are plenty. This is an area that's trying to boost tourism and bring in crowds, and it's understandable because tourism is big business. We know that from firsthand experience as we look at what kind of numbers Florida brings in, specifically Central Florida in Orlando itself. And it's not just Disney that's a draw there. It's Universal and other entertainment environments that exist in that Central Florida corridor. A lot of people enjoy seeing the Kennedy Space Center or going to SeaWorld or even Legoland. There's SeaWorld right around the corner from Universal, and that gets huge traffic. People enjoy the Florida weather. They enjoy the beaches on either side of the peninsula, and I'm going to tell you, it's nice living if you can do it. And it's a little hot in the summer. You get a little bit uncomfortable, and you still got tourism, except maybe at Disney, according to Bob Iger, but thank goodness he's gone. Why the State Department warning matters? Well, it's because it's going to keep people away. I mean, it's important to note that the State Department advisory does not specifically mention Disney or private corporate projects. However, the guidance urges Americans to depart from the region. It introduces a potential logistical question for any U.S.-based company with personnel who may need to travel to affected countries. So ultimately, my takeaway here is if you work for Disney, pay attention and listen. If you're an American citizen, you might be extra targeted on top of the fact that, well, basically Iran was shooting missiles indiscriminately at their neighbors, which is not the kind of world that you want to live in, or at least region you want to live in. At least that's my perspective. But hey, what's yours? Do you think that this will significantly stall the developments on Yas Island in the UAE? Do you think that Disney may have to hit the pause button on something like this? And do you actually think that IAPA is actually going to have their convention there? I think a lot of people have a lot of questions, and there's a lot of money at stake. So these are good questions indeed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And if you like me covering park stories over here from outlets such as my friends over at That Park Place. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and of course, until next time, let's just hope everybody stays safe.